part 3. I'm glad y'all are joining me. I hope you're getting something out of what I'm saying. So it's about learning that I had to deal with forgiveness, even if it's not my fault. Learn forgiveness. And then I had to understand that if I wanted to heal, um, there's also going to be some pain in that process as well. So I need to be prepared for that, because that's the point where people quit or they stop going. They don't want to push through because they know that the pain of having to maybe relive something that was traumatic, or it might not even really been traumatic. It could just be an accumulation of a lot of different things that have never really been addressed because of your, whether it's being passive or, you know, kind of being programmed of, not wanting to look like the bad guy, or whatever the issue might have been. For some reason, there was a point where you felt as though you should have spoken up for yourself and you didn't. So, that comes with a level of hurt as well, because you feel in your, you know, you feel like you had been taken advantage of and it wasn't fair. And the one time that you could have had some faith in yourself, the one time that you could have, really stood up for yourself and had faith in yourself, um, you didn't do it. And you feel that guilt because of that. I get it. I felt the same way, the same guilt, the same shame. I felt all that shit. So I also got some help from somebody that I truly, truly care about. Like, I love this person. Like there's always been a connection with this individual. Like, I love this person. And then when she kind of saw how hurt I was, and she started to reach out to me, and just here and there, checking in to see how I was doing and let me listen to, or she would allow me to talk, and she would just listen to me. And then every now and then she would drop jewels here and there, or maybe she would just let me vent. And then I remember that there was this time when first realized that we were going to get this divorce, and this was around September or October. Yes, it was September, actually. And I just fell apart. I was on the phone with her, I just fell apart. And then little by little, she just began to, like, understand where to jab me in the spirit. Like, places that they hurt, but because she delivered, it was almost like taking the salt. You got something that got too much salt in it, and you have to put a little sugar in there in order for it to be bearable. So the way she understood how to communicate with me was, I have to deal with him as if I'm almost dealing with myself and trying to, if I was in his shoes, what would I be telling myself to do? I think that's where she was able to So I just connected with it. And the most beautiful thing she did is while I was like completely, like I was gone, like it was just horrible. Like, so there was bitterness, there was anger, there was frustration, there was feeling of being betrayed and taken advantage of. And then there was also this guilt that I was feeling towards myself for knowing this is going to happen, knowing it was going to end this way, knowing that there was no real good way for this ever to end. But then now I'm finally having to face that reality, like in real life. And all that shit just hit me like at once. Like it was intense. I got on the phone with her, I think it was like 2, 3 hours. And I just went through all my gauntlet of whatever it was that I felt at that particular point. So there was a lot of crying and sobbing. There was some jokes. There was some slick talk. There was some crying. There was some depression. There was some angerness and bitterness. And through all that, you know what I got the most that was important out of that situation was, for the first time, I can cry as a man in front of who, whatever this is that God has lent the vessel through, like that used the vessel. Like, I don't understand how that came into play. And it wasn't not understanding how it came into play. It was how perfectly she was able to orchestrate all this without really even knowing. I don't even know if she was thinking about it on that level. She may have only been thinking about it when I was engaging with her either via text or maybe on the phone. But other than that, like after we went and she did her life and I did mine, like she works and I work. Like she's got kids, I got kids. Like like, you know, it's like we got shit to do out here. You know? So maybe the only time that she was able to like drop these jewels and jab me in my spirit and begin the process of helping me to remember who I was when she met me, because who I was when she met me was a very vibrant, confident young man who was exceedingly handsome. And you know, that's just how it went. So it wasn't that I was all that exceedingly handsome, but she understood the spirit that I had, the confidence, the joy, the passion for life, like, you know, wanting to see what's next in my life and eager to go get it. And you know, the person that she met was supposed to be the person that she was interacting with 30 years later, or at least have some type of an element of that. Maybe that, but grown in a more bigger, fuller proportion, you know. But instead, she didn't get that. She got something that was way worse, that was just like broken to pieces. And she's like, listen, I'm gonna get you right. That was some of the most beautiful, and it wasn't an overnight thing. This happened over a period of time, and then, you know, later down the road, she began to do something also where she would send me pictures of myself back when I spent incredible amounts of time with her. And it wasn't like the quantity of time, it was the quality of the time. Like I was 100% present with her at all times when I was there, when we intertwined in that way. And she had more of a free spirit. She was more of a spiritual, like, oh, I'm just loving me and just going with the flow and just being free. And me, on the other hand, I was more of a, back then I was a young minister. I was a young ordained minister. So I had my own thing that I was doing. But the thing is I was looking for someone, or I was, well, not necessarily looking for somebody, but I was at a point where I was a young man and I still wanted to get out, but I had all this responsibility and I had all this stuff dumped on me. Well, it wasn't even dumped on me. I asked for it. I just didn't know how hard the job was when I took it. I took the job for the wrong reasons. I did that for the wrong reasons and I paid for it. Not that I couldn't do it. No. It's just that I wasn't ready to do it and I just wasn't honest with myself and the people around me that deserve more answers than what they got from me. But at the same time, I didn't know how to deliver that answer. So, and there's reasons behind that for a bit as well. But when I hung out with her, she just made me forget all that. I was just free with her. We just did us, chilling and shit, hanging out, you know. She was a vegan back then. We had went to McDonald's and she wanted a Big Mac without the meat. She wanted a Big Mac without the meat. I was in line with her. I was shook too. Like I was just as shook as the dude that was taking her order. Like, yeah, how the fuck do you go do that? You know what I'm saying? Like that was the vibe. And even to this day, she's a vegan. You know, she's happily married. She's doing her thing right now. She's got a beautiful family, a beautiful daughter, a great husband. Like there's a lot of good things going on with her. Yeah, she's got her issues just like everybody else, but you know, it's just how she's dealing with it that makes all the difference in the world. Things that I was blind to because I had gotten so deep into the mix that I really forgot who I was. So back to her sending me these pictures. These pictures were me when I was young with her. And she told me that, you know, back then I used to take a lot of pictures of you um, and didn't even tell you that I was taking the pictures. I was just taking, and I was just thinking that it was the most beautiful thing in the world that somebody could tell me that. That was dope as fuck to me. That was so beautiful that she was even able to illustrate it in the way that she did. Um, and I don't think she told me that. I think she texted me that, and I could actually hear her saying that in her mind as she's typing it in to text to me. So it's it was a moving thing. Like I was deeply moved about that. And then these pictures, I was just looking back at me just as a kid, like back then, 20 years old, 22, and how happy I was. And I was just ready for whatever life was gonna, like I had church behind me, like I didn't have anything now. Like I was going into the Navy and I was just about to just do my thing, you know? I was just gonna do my thing. I was happy about that. But then as period of time had went on, you know, certain things, you know, you know, can either add to who you are or take away from who you were. And if it gets to the point where it's taking away too much, the actual soul, the actual person actually forgets who he is or who she is. And it's going to take something like a miracle sometimes. It'll take something like someone really in your life that you're connected with on a deep level that, number one, you understand the energy is going to take from you to do that. Let alone, would that be enough to get a hold of this person that for some reason I'm just drawn to help? So, when you look at it from that aspect, and then me just finally wanting to let go. As I let go, and as she told me some beautiful words to help me, I finally snapped out of it. It's like, yo, what am I doing? Like, I got shit to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's time. It's time for me to stop being hurt now. It's time for me to get back and get back to the better me and get back to the version of me that is what I see for myself, but then also what she saw in me, because whatever she saw in me had such a profound and a love from her own self for me. So for her to have that, and it doesn't even mean love in a physical thing. Like I don't mean that as like, I think that's just the way that I'm just trying to help communicate it to you. But I think it's just more like people in a regular relationship, they're in love, you know. But if the two individuals are not in love, but there's still this love for each other. So one can deliver while the other receives. It just so happens that I had been in way more deeper shit at this particular point in my life. So it was a blessing that I had her. I cried in front of her, and she never let me look. She never made me feel less of a man. She never made me feel like there was anything wrong with what I did. She just, that's how you feel right now. Just deal with that shit. You just gotta cry. That's what it takes, then that's what the fuck you just gotta do. And then she said she's still gonna put the crown on my head. So when you see it from that perspective, it's no longer about the bad that can happen. There's a stork that just landed right there. That's dope. I don't know. Maybe I'm birthing something. Word, this is dope. The full moon right there, and then the stork just lands right there on the pier with me. Man, I don't know if I could switch it around. I don't know. Hold on. I don't think it's gonna switch. It's not gonna switch. But there's a stork that landed right here. So I'm gonna Google what that shit was in a minute. But yeah, Queen Bane, she got that is God in the flesh. I'm just telling you that right now. Um, so that was the help that I needed. And then myself, I had to do the work. Like I got all these great seeds from everybody, but I had to be the one to go and dig it and then make it flourish. And sometimes it doesn't even matter if you get across the finish line pretty or ugly. It don't matter. It's just as long as you get across the finish line and you breathing. If you're just across the finish line and you still can breathe, then fine. Take a couple of days off. Be happy as fuck for about a week. Just do your thing, man. Just on a super high level. You know, enjoy it as shit.